Welcome, everyone, to this Undercover Capes Podcast Network special where we talk about Wonder Woman 1984. I am your host, the Random Dude, Josh, and with me is two of my favorite podcast hosts ever. We've got Johnny the Machine Hughes and Bob-O Mac. Gents, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. You?
Oh, I'm trying to ignore the attire at the moment.
Holy cow.
Yeah, Bob-O, how are you?
I'm doing good, but I thought this was Talking Sopranos with Steve Sciarippa and Michael Imperioli, so I'm going to have to bow out. I'll see you guys. Oh, wait, never mind. It's good to see everyone again.
Oh, we're glad you're here. So, hope you guys had a fantastic Christmas.
Ho, 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 ho.
Oh, that's
Nobody puts the whole of
way.
Christmas like Bob-O.
Well, there's certain prostitutes in Vegas, but we won't get into that.
No matter football season's on. Go Fins. Just want to shout that out now.
I don't want to talk about football. It's too depressing. But what we should talk about is Wonder Woman 1984. This is the big DC movie that, coincidentally enough, was released both in theaters and on HBO Max. So for this first part, this will be a spoiler-free review. And then once we give the warning, everything's coming off, everything except Johnny's clothes. Please. Oh, no.
That means I can strip too? Sweet.
John, what have I done? Well, let's go around the table here. Bob-O, since you're not on a podcast with Johnny and I that much, how about you kick it off? What were your thoughts about Wonder Woman 1984?
Well, I will say, as a superior comic snob, it did not follow any comic of recent memory, and it totally went off the beaten path, so I am very disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. The truth is, I have mixed feelings about this film. I've watched it 3 times now, and I don't know where I stand with it, but I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it. I mean, it's not Justice League, so that's always a plus.
Yeah, I like Justice League.
I hate that freaking movie. We'll talk about that another time.
We're saving that for another show.
I hate that movie with a passion.
Do you hate that more than any of Joel Schumacher's?
Oh yeah, no. I think that movie's worse than Batman and Robin. So
wow.
Why are you getting me started? Why are you bringing Joel Schumacher?
There's a reason. There's a reason, because every time I've said that name, Bob-O has threatened horrible things on me, like stepping on a Lego or.
Well, I've got to say that I think, and you'll find out in the up and coming TDC, where exactly Batman and Robin is better than The Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, I agree with that too.
And Justice League is a different thing altogether, but yeah, Batman and Robin,
I know,
up there. Woohoo! There you go. Go and check out the next episode of TDC to find out why.
Yes, and if you don't, bad men will come to your house and beat your brains. I'm kidding. We don't have a budget for that, so it doesn't matter. But like I said, mixed reviews on this movie. I don't hate it, but I'm not in love with it. After the 3rd viewing, I'm still not in love with it.
Mm-hmm. Johnny, what about yourself?
Well, I've only seen it the once, and I kind of tried to absorb as much as I could going through the first time. I'm sure there'll be bits and bobs that I pick up the second and third time. I will say that there are parts that I really enjoyed. Well, there's parts I enjoyed, and there's parts that kind of made me scratch my head a little bit. I think as great as Gal Gadot is, and I'm putting that out there now, she is great. I think this film loses some charm somewhere along the line.
Mhm.
The first one has a nice little charm stroke, innocent stroke, I don't know, fish out of water thing going on. And whilst elements of that do appear in this, it's not as charming this time around. Mainly because, you know what? Check out my grey hair. Oh, man, I was around in 1984. So it's like, oh, really? Do I have to relive this again? Thanks. Cheers. But there you go. There you go. So
Yeah. No, I would agree. I don't think this film met up to the hype as the first Wonder Woman. To be honest, I feel like the scenes we got in the trailer were the best bits.
I think
of the
you've
movie.
kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit there, because I think going into the first Wonder Woman movie, I had zero expectations. I don't think a lot of people did, because it was like, it's Wonder Woman, it's World War One, it's who cares about World War One? We want to see a war film, we want to see a superhero movie, and then it comes out and it absolutely is bombastic. It's great. It's got the great guitar riff for the theme, all that sort of stuff goes on. The chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot is absolutely fantastic. You know, so you think, wow, so that film came out and blew your socks off.
Mhm.
That experience then has raised your expectations for this next one.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where I see the difference, I think.
So that brings up a question that I want to pose to both of you. Was the chemistry between Gal Gadot and Chris Pine, did that meet, was that kind of the highlight of the film? Because obviously that was the biggest question, and we'll get into in the spoiler portion on how Chris Pine returns. But did their interaction, their chemistry, was that the highlight of the movie for you, or did it kind of throw it off?
Bobo, you can go first.
I can go first on this.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. I actually like the chemistry between them two still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate it. I think my problem with this film, a lot of it has to do with Chris Pine being back just willy-nilly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a subjective viewpoint that I have. But as far as them on screen and doing stuff and interacting and all this arcs that those characters go through within this film, I thought it worked fine. It felt like putting on an old pair of shoes with them two back on screen together.
Mm-hmm.
Still felt great. It still felt wonderful. I didn't dread anything with them. So I thought the chemistry and connection on screen still worked for me.
Okay. Johnny?
I agree to a point. There's a fish out of water element. It's pretty safe to say, spoiler free, you know, that Chris Pine is back from the war, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And then somewhere along the line, it changes. It's like he's the one that suggests how to break into something. How's he know? It's not his world. How's he do that? And then he's the one that works out what needs to be done to save the day. He's the one that hits the kernel of truth, as it were, to kind of get the ball rolling. And I kind of thought, with all the other aspects that were going on in the storyline, that kind of I'm not going to say demeaned. Demeaned's too strong a word, but it kind of put the Wonder Woman character on the back foot a little bit. And I was like, well, hold on a second. This is her movie. She's supposed to be the resilient hero type. You know, this is her world now. It's not like she's back in the war and she's in man's world for the first time. She's been there for like 50 odd years now. Well, 70 something years now by this point. So she knows how it works. So as it kind of flipped back to I'm going to sound like such a I don't know, snow fairy or snow, whatever they call them, snowflake. But as it twists, as the kind of the characteristics and how they kind of move back to him being the dominant one in the relationship, I kind of lost a little bit of interest then, because I wanted this to be like Diana's movie. If that makes sense.
It does. As I was watching, there were definitely parts of it that it was fun to see that chemistry back on screen. But I feel that this movie was a role reversal in that in the first one, Diana is being exposed to this.
Yeah, she's a fish out of water.
She's a fish out of water. Now she's been in the water, per se, for long enough.
Where's my bikini? We talk about water.
Damn it! No, I don't want to see that. Where Chris Pine's character has been gone for so long, and the world has changed, so she's been acclimated to it. So this movie was like a flip, and we were getting the reverse version of the first movie, which there were definitely some comedic aspects to that, which I enjoyed. It was weird seeing a lot of stuff from the 80s back on screen. In fact, my wife said, "Oh God, why did we even have this? Why?" Like I don't know. And the fact,
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say the fact that stuff's coming back now just makes me cringe.
It could be worse.
How?
How?
Don't ask that question.
You don't want to know the answer.
No.
We're a PG show here. I can't.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
But so, Bob, you were gonna say?
Yes. So here's the thing about the Gal Gadot, the relationship between Diana and Steve. I also understand on the flip side of the coin that they wanted to tell the story of Diana being in love with him still and missing him dearly. So for that key point in the movie, they made him the stronger person. And to go to your point, Johnny, about the, how they flipped the roles and made Diana more, I guess, for lack of a better word, human, as opposed to being a godlike persona and character. I see from a writing standpoint and from a storytelling standpoint that they wanted her to feel emotion again after losing that emotion after he's been gone so long. So
I know, but surely relationships, it's equal footing. It doesn't have to be like one strong person. Surely it's equal. And when you think of what the movies, for me, what the character kind of means to a lot of people, I don't know if you've talked about Wonder Woman as a strong female icon, and then you see it being all like, being not led, but being kind of just following the bloke around. It kind of like, well, hold on a second, she's the one that should be in charge. He should be following her, and that's all. And I'm all right with that, I guess I get where you're coming from, because there's certain story elements that actually make her go through some changes, which we'll get to later on. And I suppose that could be represented in the relationship change a little bit. So yeah, I totally get that point of view. But from a question of chemistry, it kind of just jarred a little bit. I mean, I can see why they do it, but I just,
No, I understand. I totally get it. I just wanted to put that out there. And also, if for those who don't like that, send your hate mail to Jeff Jones. He's once again attached to another DC movie script. But we'll get to that later on too.
Fair enough. So, kind of moving forward, we talk about Diana and Steve. Let's talk about the other characters involved. We've got Max Lord and Cheetah. What were you guys' spoiler-free thoughts regarding these two villains?
Cheetah I was fine with. Max Lord, I was like, you know what, this is just pardon the pun, but it's just a Johnny come lately. It has it's just a name. It's just an empty shirt for me. There's there's not. You hear the word Max Lord. You're reading the Wonder Woman comics at the minute. Max has just been in it recently. There's a whole resonance between when Diana killed him the first time round before Flashpoint.
Damn it, Barry Allen.
Damn it,
that Matarazzo.
But then, but when you watch this, alluded to Bobo's point where there's no comic book continuity. You know what? This dude's just an empty shirt, man. It could have called him anything, absolutely anything.
Could have called him next Shrek.
It could have. You absolutely could have.
Okay.
And I was totally disappointed with that because I think Max Lord, comic book Max Lord, has the opportunity to be a really strong character and a really strong villain, and this, nah. And I'm going to save it for the spoilers, but no, yeah, she was fine, but he. There you go.
Oh, Bob-O just clawing it at his chance to tell us. What do you say, Bob-O?
I was just making the point when Johnny was like, Kristen Wiig, she was fine. So I was just like,
she's no Chitara.
No. But no woman ever will be, besides the voice actress that played her. So it doesn't matter. I will agree with Johnny about Maxwell Lord. I like the character, and I definitely enjoyed seeing not as the comic book character, but as the character. He was over the top, and I liked that, and that's a theme of this movie. Everything's over the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Maxwell Lord, and that's where that comic book side comes in. It's like, come on, dude, this dude's part of Checkmate and all this stuff. Like, I don't get this vibe that this dude will ever run Checkmate, as opposed to, but you see that a lot in comic book movies. They'll change the character around and they'll do it differently. Now, I could see maybe this is just pure off the cuff of my head, down the road and down the line, if they decide to revisit Maxwell Lord again, somehow through whatever MacGuffin they choose, that I could see him fitting into a role like that better, maybe a more hateful heart on him or something. Like, the actor's fine for the role. It's just, once again, the writing here doesn't really reflect what the character is or the essence of Maxwell Lord, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
I mean, if you're into CW, then you know that Maxwell Lord's coming into the CW universe this season. You have to forgive me. I think it's the Superman show. Superman show.
The Superman and Lois.
Yeah. So they've recast him because it used to be the guy from Twilight, the dad from Twilight that was him in the Supergirl show. But of course, with all the different universes colliding and stuff, so they've got an opportunity to recast. So I would assume, fingers crossed, that iteration of Maxwell Lord is more comic book faithful than this one. But to Bobo's point about, it's funny, we were talking about the excesses of the 80s, and I was kind of thinking back to like RoboCop, the first RoboCop movie, and the way that they go over the top of the TV adverts. That's this character. It's it's just kind of like, in your face loudness and.
Oh, I would love to see him say, "I'd buy that for $1."
But I think it goes to the question. Therefore, becomes, who's this movie for? Is the movie for comic book fans, or is the movie for general public? General public won't care that this isn't Maxwell Lord from the comic books. General public will just think, "Oh, look, that's the bad guy."
I really think this is a general audience film, and I think DC tried to, for a long time, go the other way of throwing in those, especially with let me go off on a tangent here for a moment, especially with like Snyder using certain reference points from comic book lore and integrating those into this movie. I think this, especially what Patty and the team over at DC is trying to do now, is try to capture that general audience format. Perfect example for me, and this is always like a bone of contention when I hear Marvel and DC fans go at it on film. You'll have a big contention of DC comic book fans be like, well, they didn't do this on film the way it shouldn't be done. But somehow Marvel always gets a pass for Civil War, which had nothing to do with what that comic book Civil War was about.
Don't get me started.
I know, Johnny. I know.
Civil War's an Avengers movie. It's not a Cap movie. It's an Avengers movie. And on top of that, Marvel movies, regardless of the fact that people say DC movies suck, or they're not as popular, or they don't make as much money as Marvel movies. Marvel movies are plug and play.
I know.
You take one character. Ooh, let's have a comedy character. Ooh, let's have a serious character. Ooh, and they just mix it up, and it's the same stuff. It's the same feel, the same vibe, the whole thing.
I know they're like a big budget CW series. That's what all those films are.
But then you look at DC, and whether you love Justice League, or whether you love Batman versus Superman, or whether you love the Joker, or whether you like Suicide Squad or Birds of Prey, or even the Wonder Woman movies, or Man of Steel, whichever one it is, I don't particularly mind. But at least they're trying different things. They're doing movies with different tones for different audiences. So
hey, you won't. I'm with you on that point 100%. I just think this film is a very general audience sort of approach. I don't believe this film is for the hardcore fan base, which would have made sense more in a I want to use the proper word here so we don't get in trouble. Unforeseen circumstance of 2020. I think it probably would have played up a little more, but with everybody being at home, the film, it has a different tone to it now.
Yeah.
For people watching, because it's on HBO Max, and we all know the reports of their low subscriber count and whatnot. So you're having a different focus for different audience. But I do feel like this film was made with the goal of increasing a general audience viewpoint for all things DC is what I was going to get at.
Okay.
And my second thing I want to bring up before we get too crazy here is Kristen Wiig's character. I was very apprehensive about her being in this film as a villain. Like, I was hoping she would do well. I think she did wonderful for the character that was written. It was a different side of her as an actress that we normally don't get to see in films. And I thoroughly enjoyed that. To go back to your original question that was asked so long ago, Josh, before we went off on this deep, dark path of debating movies that will be sure to give us a thumbs down from some Marvel or DC fanboy at some point once this podcast is
Did you think, let me just ask a quick question. This is to both of you then. Let me just throw this question in.
Go ahead.
About 3/4 of the movie in, at one point I looked at the Kristen Wiig character and she was doing a thing. And I was like, you know what? She's channeling Sarah Paulson. So I'm thinking, why is she basing the performance on Sarah Paulson? If we wanted Sarah Paulson, we would have just gone and got Sarah Paulson.
I had more of a Michelle Pfeiffer Batman Returns vibe.
Yeah.
Early doors, maybe, but nah.
Like after those magical cats brought her back to life. That happened in issue 413 of Catwoman. Anyways,
I'm
gonna get hate mail from Johnny. Dear God, why did you bring him on?
Hey, I like different opinions. They're the best kind. They're the best kind of opinions. Different.
I'm just having fun. The truth is that I just had that vibe when she comes back, like in Batman Returns, when she comes back in after getting those cats do their magic. She's like smashing up.
Fell on her ski trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She had that kind of vibe and presence to her. So, as she becomes more and more, as her character goes through the changes, without getting into spoilers. So, I thought it was a good portrayal for what it was for this sort of film. So, I just wanted to put that out there.
No, I would agree. I think Kristen Wiig's performance was great. In all parts. The only downfall was the CG. The CG is what killed it for me.
For her CG or for the always running stroke sliding CG?
Yes.
Yeah, he said, yeah. It was more the cheetah CG that I had a more of a problem with.
I was all right.
And that's not a spoiler because they put it in the dang trailer. They put everything into the trailer.
I was all right with that, to be fair.
I saw better in Injustice 2.
But it's the running thing that got me. Especially in the mall scene. Is she running? Is she sliding? Well, it seems like she's sliding everywhere. So then if she's sliding, how can she stop and then get traction to move forward again? What's going on? It either slides or you don't slide. It's not.
No, Johnny, you slide to the left, slide to the right.
Dude, there ain't no cha-cha slide on this.
Yeah, baby.
That's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing.
Oh, man. Well, well, I think it's that wonderful time. We're going to move to, we're opening it all up. It is going to be spoilers from here on out. Johnny's unzipping. So if
I've got my shirt, I have things to get off my chest.
Oh God. So on that note, if you don't want to see what's on Johnny's chest and you don't want the movie spoiled because you haven't seen it yet, stop the podcast now. We're going to give you about 3 seconds, and then everything's coming off except for Johnny. All right. All right. So the warning has been issued. Here we go. Let's talk about the stone. Let's start off with the Dreamstone.
It's a MacGuffin. no butts, no coconuts. This is essentially the thing that destroys the Maxwell Lord character, literally and figuratively, from what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. You know, Maxwell Lord shouldn't need. And you know what? When he started using the stone, it was like then he started ordering people around there and then thereafter. It was like they waited to nearly right to the end of the movie for him to actually say, well, you know what? Because I've given you the wish, I can take what I want from you. And it's like, that's like right at the end he says that. And it's all happened beforehand. I'm like thinking, so it wasn't clear from the get-go.
But if you caught on when he was giving, once he kind of figured out what was going on to some degree, he would say, what do you wish? And, oh, by the way, I'm taking, and we saw this with the Stag company.
Yeah,
when he said that, I'm going to take control.
But the relationship between him granting the wish and taking control, it wasn't clear. So it's like when he got to the Oval Office, mm-hmm. and he gave the president his wish and then said, right, I'm taking control of this. I was like, how's he doing that? Because it's like, it's not, he's granting the wishes, he's not.
But he did the same thing when he's broadcasting to the world, like he's saying it, and he's like, I grant you your wishes, and then he turns and mumbles what he wants.
But at that point, it's given, isn't it? It's a given thing that's it. Because it's only up until that White House scene when Diana realizes that she's losing her powers because of that. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's clear enough. I think, but other than that, it's a MacGuffin, and Maxwell Lord shouldn't need a MacGuffin. He's got the powers in the nosebleed thing going on. So
yeah,
bring back Maxwell Lord, God damn it.
You know what? We'll just have the Flash just reset the timeline. It's fine.
Not again.
That is DC's way of resetting everything.
If he does that, I might end up being a Marvel fan. I don't want
that. Bob-O, what were your thoughts on the Dreamstone?
On the Dreamstone?
Yeah.
Well, it's excellent Jeff Jones writing yet again on film, so
the disappointment, you're just like, oh,
I shouldn't be so hard on the guy, but like he's involved in a lot of stuff, and I don't understand it after Green Lantern, Like they were ready to axe Zack Snyder after BVS, but Jeff Jones somehow has dirty pictures of someone locked away high up, like where he's allowed to be on everything and turn it around for both good and bad. Like, I get it, dude. You work with Richard Donner. You know what? I once shook hands with famous people too, but I don't get to do what you do. So
You can't knock. My wife loves the Green Lantern movie.
she loves that movie.
She loves it.
I don't hate it like everybody else does. I was like, it's
okay.
okay.
Opportunity, I'll give you that. But John's work in the comic books at one point
was amazing.
He was the man.
Oh, I agree.
And the only thing and people slate me for this because of the whole Earth One stuff that he does, but the only character he hasn't written particularly well has been Batman. For me, he's got Justice Society down, he's got Justice League down, he's got the Flash, he's got Green Lantern, he's got like those really kind of straight up heroic characters. But then when you put in like a character that's got a little bit of tinge to it, a little bit of nuance, so shall we say, like Bats or maybe even Superman, kind of loses his way. And I think that shows in this actually, because Diana, regardless of what happens to her throughout the movie from a power point of view, she loses her way. From a perspective point of view, she loses herself, which is kind of a little bit odd. I, for one, can do without kid Diana. I'm sick of seeing that kid.
Oh, come on. The kid needs work too. They got like a college fund to save for in this country, dude. They need that money.
Honestly, I love the first movie, but thanks to the power of the Blu-ray, scene select, miss out the kid. Oof, there we go.
You're a monster, Johnny. So you have no soul.
That whole first scene at the beginning of the movie, I enjoyed it, but I feel it was dragged on just a little bit too long. It was great seeing Robin Wright back. Yeah. I love her character. She's a fantastic actress. Obviously, both in Wonder Woman and in House of Cards.
And in Forrest Gump, Jenny.
Yeah, right, Jenny. Just tell me this. Tell me this. When during that first scene, when the ball thing hits the ground or goes through the goal or wherever it is, tell me that nobody said, "Oh, look, she scored a snitch." Or a snatch, or whatever it's called.
Whoa! You can't say that second word on this show.
Yeah.
I know. Actually, my first thought was, this is like the non-magical version of Quidditch.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Followed by, so what? Are we going to get a video game with those type of games? Because
that's all
I might be okay with it.
No, it's. The scene, I get it. It's the bit that teaches them the lesson to cheat and have to be all true and all that. I get the point of the scene. I'm not a complete moron. But all of it is CGI. And I'm like, you know what? You could do better. Let's just have
but that was better CGI than what we got at the end of the film.
Oh, come on. That was the most riveting CGI I'd ever seen on film. That was
that
was right up there with Terminator Dark Fate.
I haven't seen that
Superman Returns. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I love Superman. Wait, catch you in the baseball ground. That's great.
No. It's when Superman is falling to his death
on a kryptonite rock.
Yeah, after the kryptonite planet.
Okay.
So,
I have a question.
I
have a question for you both.
Okay.
Which is longer, Batman's rope, Spider-Man's web, or Wonder Woman's lasso?
Definitely the lasso of truth in this.
It's like how crazy! It's like it changes size more times than Godzilla does.
Well,
Autobots.
Okay, so that brings up another weird thought that I had during the movie. Were we getting a Wonder Woman movie, or were we getting like an Indiana Jones or a Spider-Man movie? Because she was practically web swinging.
She did a lot of weird things in the air in this movie.
I mean, the flying part was cool for her to kind of figure that out, because literally about 30 seconds before that scene started, my wife goes, I thought Wonder Woman flies. I'm like, yeah, I did too. Asking ye shall receive. Now I just wonder what I'm going to lose because of it. Shit.
Well, you had the invisible jet scene, which I personally didn't see coming.
That was a cool.
I can't believe I got away with that joke and nobody absolutely laughed. Cheers, mate. Thanks, guys.
You know what, Johnny? I don't like your attitude.
Sorry, I didn't see the point.
But you talk about CGI. We've seen better flying scenes than this one. It was all right, but we've seen it done better.
It was a great Hallmark commercial.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought the flying scene was better than when Diana gets her powers back and starts running. That whole running scene just it reminded me of the original Superman when the younger Clark Kent is running really, really, really fast, but the motion is just not there.
It reminds me, we've said it once already, it reminds me of Civil War, when after they've just the chasing the Winter Soldier down, Cap and Black Panther are running down that highway. Oh man, that is a stinking effect. That is terrible.
Johnny, you're trying to give us more dislikes on this video. What are you doing?
Honestly, Wonder Woman's running made me appreciate what Ezra Miller did as the Flash that much more.
It makes me appreciate what CW do with the Flash. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Where'd Bubble go?
I don't know. He just vanished.
He's back. There you go. He's
okay. He ran across the giant pond and then back. It's fine. It's fine.
Didn't lose 1 ounce of weight either, though. Very disappointed here.
Damn.
I know.
Damn.
No, the CGI. I know we're going off on a tangent, but the CGI in this movie is very, very mixed.
All over.
It's at some points it's okay, and then the next shot in the same scene, it's just bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay, so here I have a big problem when Cheetah and Wonder Woman fight. I was like, why did half of this need to be in CGI? Like cats in the 80s pulled off cat people. Like, why did we just go full CGI with this thing? Minus the close-up shot when she first looks at.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it was an actor issue. Maybe Kristen Wiig couldn't get the bulk for what they wanted. But how they made Shazam look bulky in that suit, so.
The wings. It was, whilst the wings look great, and it shows that you can actually do genuinely do a Hawkman or Hawkgirl movie if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. I absolutely didn't see what the point of that was, other than the fact that they could do it. And like story-wise, it's the armor that protected it, while people made a great sacrifice.
Yeah, protected them from man. It was like Diana made a point to say that. The armor protected Hysteria from man.
Release the patty cut. I want it now.
I'm going to start. See, I don't agree with that. You want some more dislikes? Here you go. Release the Snyder Cut. If you want to see the Snyder Cut, why are we waiting for extra footage? The Snyder Cut has already been done. You're never going to see the Snyder Cut. What you're going to see is the Snyder Cut plus, because he's doing extra shots. If you think you're going to see the Snyder Cut by itself, you're an absolute moron. It's not going to happen.
It's like the Donner Cut. They changed things around in the Donner Cut after in post-production.
So it's not going to happen. So everyone who whinges on about, I want to do the Snyder Cut, can't wait till it comes out. It's never coming out. It's never coming out.
Okay, Johnny, we're going to debate this real quick. I didn't want to go on this road, but I will. Here's the thing about the Snyder Cut. all intents and purposes, for better or worse, that film was taken away from him right from the beginning.
Agreed. I don't have I understand that bit. Sorry, I'm just looking for a pad.
So, oh no, you're fine. So from a filmmaking standpoint, I know there's some people who are snobs about it, but I think from a filmmaking standpoint, to be a creator and to go back and do the vision that you want to do, I think is tremendous.
I agree with that as well. But you can't call it the Snyder Cut. Right. So imagine this. You draw a picture, all right? Whatever it may be. Right?
It's of you, Johnny, because you're a
right?
sexy man beast.
So at which point you draw your picture, right? And then everyone says, oh, yeah, it's great. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it off to the inker. And then the inker puts the inks on and changes a bit, and then they add the color on and stuff like that. But you've still got the original pencils, all right? So then it goes off and everyone says, oh, well, yeah, I'd really like to see the original pencils. So instead of actually showing the original pencils, the artist is going back to put his own inks on and his own colors. So you're not actually ever going to see the original pencils. You're just going to see the original plus what they do again. So you're never going to see it. It's never going to happen. You're going to see what he had bolted on to and a whole load of extra stuff that's getting filmed as we speak. That's not the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut should be, I want to see the movie before the reshoots. They're never going to do that.
Well, reshoot. Everybody thinks reshoots are just a straightforward thing, like they're filming new stuff. Even when that film finished or initial production, the chances of them having reshoots on things would have happened. That's just standard filmmaking.
Yeah, I get that.
Film, but like the new scene stuff, I understand. But I do realize why the new scenes are there as well. They want to make an even bigger story to wrap up everything. I'm not saying I don't disagree that the fact that the original Snyder Cut probably would have been, it's something different than what we're getting. Obviously, because they filmed the new stuff. But at the same point, they're going all in with this thing to try to make it the best thing possible. And I'm for that. Let him do his thing. Let this stand where it is. And then we'll see what happens with him in the future touching other projects, be it on an HBO Max or maybe even back on the big screen again.
Maybe I'm being linguistically semantic.
It's okay. I know you. Yeah, you're having fun. I get it.
So, bringing it back to the 80s, the decade that we all,
Yes, Josh, I want it all.
I got a little bit offended, and then I had to double check when they did the whole Irish. Now, I wish you Irish would all go back, or I wish you die of a heart attack. And I was like, man, I'm sick of people showing England like there's some sort of crazy republic where we just want one set, and those cars aren't real. And it dawned on me, I was like, yeah, man, this is like the 80s. That's exactly what it was like. So
you're all mad, like, what the hell? They're doing, oh god.
Oh wow.
So I was like a step away. I was like, you know what I mean? My brain was catching up with what I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
But so I thought, as not as inappropriate as not hurtful either. Just as it was just an uncomfortable scene. And what made it even more uncomfortable was kind of what it was like. So that was. Yeah. I think I want to say well observed, but thanks for making us look like complete tits. Appreciate that.
So let's do this. Let's go with what your favorite moment of the film was, the worst moment of the film, and then we have to talk about the post-credit scene.
Okay.
So I will. We're
go
gonna,
first, Josh.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was going to use the coin for this. Shit.
No.
Okay,
you can use it for the next scene.
Okay, fine. For the post-credit. Okay. My favorite scene honestly was with the jet, because you've got Steve Trevor back. He's flying a jet. Although admittedly, I did find it weird that you've got a World War I pilot who can now fly an 80s jet but doesn't understand radar.
Josh, all your questions are making this movie seem bad. I don't appreciate it.
But that being said, I enjoyed that scene. Not only do we get to actually see the invisible jet and how that actually happens, and the fact that Diana is like, I was able to do it once on a cup and I lost it. I enjoyed that comedic aspect of it, and just the effects with flying through the fireworks over DC. That was the scene I enjoyed the most. The scene that really just kind of annoyed me was when he's saying, I will grant all of your wishes. You're using 80s technology to touch people when everything before you had to physically touch them. And you'd have to actually listen to them. So how can you grant all of these wishes if you're not actually able to hear them?
Well, Josh, it has to do with microwaves coming in and then the power of belief, and then it has to do with, you know what, pal? I don't like your questioning.
This is not the 700 Club.
That's right. Call the toll-free number at the bottom of the screen and give to Jesus. Lay hands upon me.
And you think I'm the reason why we're getting dislikes for this? Now you put Jesus in
there. They can go fly a kite. I don't care.
Just that whole thing, I was just like,
here's
okay.
I agree with you, Josh, and this is a problem DC has in movies. Their third acts always somehow turn really weird.
Like, honestly, like that. I know they mentioned Asteria's armor, and I'm like, okay, new suit, that's going to come in the third act. We're only going to get about 10 minutes of that. Okay, that's a DC comic new suit directive. It always happens.
New suit, make it happen.
We got it with Batman Forever. We got it with Batman and Robin.
Batman Begins, or Dark Knight. Batman Begins, he got two suits.
Yeah.
Well, two suits do you get in Batman Begins?
He's got his the training suit and then the final version of that suit.
Yeah, but half the movie's in the suit. And same thing with the Dark Knight.
Dark Knight, yeah, he changed the suits in that because he changed.
Well, he does change suits, but it's not in the third act.
Okay.
It's always lately it's been in the third act when they get all the new stuff. So I don't know. The whole reaching out and touching people using microwaves was so 80s.
I want to reach out and touch you.
Oh.
Dude, that's not my leg.
Well, excuse me. I didn't know I had those powers from across the pond.
So, yeah, that was the one that I was just like, and even Diana using the lasso of truth to talk to everyone else. I didn't realize the lasso of truth did that.
It's because of the microwaves. He was channeling them, and then she was able. They were all together.
But that all helps you see the truth, not just say the truth. It tells you halfway through the movie.
Well, I got that, but for her to use the lasso of truth to then talk to everybody else,
it's symbiotes minus Venom and Carnage and that whole thing.
Yeah, I just the ending was kind of a.
It's a third act problem. DC has a problem with the third act.
Yeah, I agree.
On film, at least.
That's not just really on films. The amount of times some big name writers come up with these great plots, and you get halfway through, and you're like, you know what? The setup is always better than the punchline.
You know what? That reminds me. Speaking of old Jeffy Boy, one of my favorite comic books for a while was World of New Krypton. New Krypton started out really great, and then it totally went off the rails for me.
Joker War was the same way.
And
I enjoyed the Joker War, but the third act on that was...
I was thinking more Scott Snyder stuff more than anything. But
those things go totally... Well, I like those, but we'll talk about that another time.
So, Johnny,
right.
your favorite scene, most critical scene?
My most critical scene was the kid at the end, and Max coming out and being all just like, "Ooh, my son, I want you to be proud," and blah 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 blah. I was like, "Oh my God, save me!" You know, you cannot go from being a complete douche for like 98% of the movie to, "Oh my God, I've seen the light." It's like, ugh, it is cliched beyond cliched.
No, those 700 Club donations finally went through. That's why he was able to see the light.
You realize I have no idea what the 700 Club is.
Oh, you don't get the 700 Club over across the pond, huh?
No.
It's a religious show. It's like a religious Fox News show. Basically.
I was going to say,
just for religion.
The exchange rate would probably get like $5.50. As for my favorite bit, I enjoyed the movie as a whole. There are some good bits. There are some bits that made you scratch your head. Favorite bits? I can't think of one that particularly stands out. Sorry.
Fair enough.
I honestly, I mean,
Johnny, I'm not surprised by that answer.
It's an enjoyable watch, but there's nothing that's sort of like nothing that comes out and goes, "Wow, that was fantastic." I mean, I think there's some missed opportunities. I think the gold suit, the wingsuit, for all the hype that thing got, it has more. I think I have more screen time on this pod than that has on the film. So it's
Where's your gold suit, Johnny? We're in the third act of this podcast. Yeah.
No!
Hold on. I am wearing Superman boxers. Does that count?
Okay, why not?
Yeah. I can't think of one that particularly stands out. No. The kid at the end spoiled, kind of like, "Come back, shit," and all that. Ugh. But yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Sorry.
No need to apologize.
Your viewpoint. You have nothing to be sorry about.
I just feel like I haven't answered the question. I've failed.
No. Bob-O, what about you?
There's a lot of little things that I liked in this film. I know you guys don't like their going back to the island and whatnot. Yeah, but I like seeing it from time to time. I don't think we need to spend as much time there as they gave that whole opening scene, but it's nice to see it every once in a while. It's time to go back to your roots. So I like the little snapshots of things. Like I like seeing that. I love seeing her ride the lightning, a nice Metallica reference there. With the spider lasso.
That's what we're calling it, spider lasso.
The spider lasso of truth.
Yes. What else did I like? I didn't mind the fight scene because she lived. That's another thing I hate about a lot of comic book movies. They always kill the character off, the bad guy in that fight. And I was like, oh, I guess Cheetah does get to live. So by the end of it,
shocked. I mean,
well, I thought she was going to die. Electricity and water don't go together well. So the fact that she lived was kind of nice. The gold suit once again was nice to see, but it once again just a marketing tool. So hey, it's cool. I gotta get it. Gotta get money. Gotta get paid, as the cool kids say. Gotta make that dough.
Yeah, that's gonna be more for the toys.
Yeah,
the action figures.
There is an Injustice 2 skin on the mobile game that you have to try and obtain, if that helps.
Oh, I did not know that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, this completely random moment here has been brought to you by the Random Dude Josh.
Even though it was from Johnny the Machine Hughes.
The thing I dislike the most, I would have to say that whole third act. It just once again the third act with the big bad. It never. And I never feel invested. But I will say, to go back to a positive, reintroducing a beautiful lie in a new way. When she's got the lasso of truth around him and she's asking for everything, was a nice, cool BVS comeback that I personally enjoyed. So I did love that.
I have a quick question about. I found a favorite bit. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go for it.
Oh, you found one. Oh,
yeah.
Breaking news.
We're sitting down for this.
The Clark Kent scene. There you go. Clark Kent.
Okay, I missed that.
Who do you think's watching the jocks play football?
I thought that was Maxwell as a kid.
No, it's Clark, because he wants to play football for Kansas University, doesn't he? Could never play. Could never play. Maxwell was too busy setting up his business. Yeah, that's it. Why else were they playing the Batman versus Superman thing throughout that whole segue?
Oh, I guess that does make sense.
Oh, now I have to go back.
Because I went back and forth on that, Johnny. I thought they were showing earlier stuff, but then I was like, no, they're showing other stuff.
And then she even mentions in her bit about like people who've lost everything. You don't see it, but you know that's got to be an allusion to like Bruce getting his parents killed. And then you see young Clark wanting to be the football star, and his dad always forbade him.
That makes way more sense now.
Okay.
So thank you for clarifying that. That's awesome. Yeah, so I'm going to take Johnny's viewpoint and that's my favorite viewpoint as well. Negative part is the third act. I've said it. It's done. It's written. So it shall be.
Until we get the Bob-O cut.
Yes, the Bob-O cut.
Well, now is
Josh. What was yours? You have Josh? Yes.
He went first.
I went first. Bob-O made me go first. No, I was going to move on to the post-credit scene.
Loved it. Absolutely, touch of genius.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and she still has it. She has got it in spades.
Yeah, I would drink her bath. I mean,
No,
I don't think you can say that stuff anymore, to be honest with you. I don't think you can say phrases like that anymore.
No.
So
honestly, that scene was fantastic. And the fact that they really tied in the story together with, because they put so much of a focus on Hysteria, and then she just up and disappeared, and then boom, Linda Carter. I was like, yes, I am okay with this. She's still in Amazon. She is that was absolutely wonderful, no pun intended.
Yeah, she is fantastic. In fact, you know what? I loved her as Wonder Woman. I think she was canny in Supergirl, where she popped in there for a little while. Mm-hmm. Absolutely great. It was great to see her on the big screen.
Well, and the fact that they just announced that HBO Max will have the entire run of Linda Carter's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it's on there now.
I own the DVDs. I'm fine.
It's fine. It's cool. It's fine.
It's okay for those of us who don't live in a DVD world and aren't a material girl.
Well,
we'll just go to our streaming platform.
Unfortunately, as HBO doesn't, and DC doesn't like.
I know. You guys have. You guys always have distribution problems out there. I don't know why.
So some of us, we have to actually buy the DVDs. We can't just rely on a streaming service.
Well, we're very coddled in that aspect, Johnny. So don't knock us. Knock big corporations.
Hey man, I tell it all the time. Absolutely. When it was DC Universe, I went absolutely. How can you call yourself DC Universe when you're only available in the US?
Yeah.
I just renewed my DC Universe subscription.
Good. I'll continue to buy comic books. Cheers.
Johnny, I buy so much toys. There has to be a middle of the road somewhere. That is very sexy.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. My birthday present.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Very good one.
No, I like the post-credit scene too. Like I thought it was a nice little thing. My only concern is Patty's going off to go do Star Wars. So and Linda's not like a spring chicken. I'm not trying to be mean here, but how long are we going to have to wait?
May I
go for it, Johnny?
I think probably that's a good thing. I love what Patty Jenkins did in the first Wonder Woman movie. And I know, Josh, you said sometimes this feels like a comfortable pair of slippers and stuff that you're putting on again. But don't you think we should have something different? You know, having something different is having two lots of the same meal is like, yeah, it's all that. You know, when you get Domino's and you have like 2 pieces of one pizza and 2 pieces of another because you like different pizzas, right? It's not always the same pizza. And the same with this. I think it's about time we got a different direction.
Yeah, I feel, and this would probably be an overall summary of Wonder Woman 84. I feel it may have fallen subject to the sequel curse. And maybe part of that's due to COVID. Maybe it's not. I'm going to lean more towards not, because they already had this in place and this direction going before everything shut down. I definitely appreciate the fact that they did, obviously, for areas that can't see it in theaters, but being able to watch it at home on HBO Max here in the States. I appreciated being able to enjoy the new movie, knowing that, yes, I enjoyed it. Was I disappointed? Yes. But I'm not out the $70 to $100 it would have cost to take myself, my wife, 2 kids to the theater just for tickets alone, and then all the snacks and stuff that we'd have to, that we'd have to get. So knowing that I did not have to spend that much money for an okay film leaves a little bit of a better taste in my mouth.
This film's not going in the UK till second week of January.
Oh wow!
So, and that's on the streaming. That's on the streaming service. Cinemas are currently closed. So,
well, yeah, and I know some areas in the States are closed down, others are not. You know, crazy United States. That's how we like to do things. A little Krusty the Clown there for you.
Hey!
But yeah, I just overall, it's not the worst DC movie I've seen, but it definitely does not meet the expectation that the first one provided. I would rather go back and watch the first one, hands down.
I think when I watched Birds of Prey the first time round, I was kind of like, you know what, it's all right. It's not Birds of Prey. It's all right. I enjoyed Birds of Prey much more the second time. So I'm hoping, and maybe Bob-O can help us with this, maybe it gets better on repeated viewings.
It does and it doesn't. Like, you're looking at different things every time you watch the film. So, like, the second time, you already know what's happening, so you're just watching to see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
Like, the first time's that fan person, to be politically correct, 2020 going into 2021, that fan love for that character or for the things you enjoy. The second time, you're like, okay, this happens now. Let me see how it all. And then the third time, you're just picking up different vibes, and then you re-question everything. It's sort of like a first marriage ending and then going into a second marriage, and you're like, I know what I did wrong this first time, or that woman, that piece of trash, or that man, that piece of trash. So, you know, it changes. That's what films do. They change your perspective. The more you watch them, the more you're invested in them, or the more less invested you are in them.
Mhm.
For me, this film, I don't hate it. I'm just not in love with it like I thought I would be a little bit more. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you have
Films
that
are hit and miss.
Yeah, it's not even a miss to me. It's more of a I'm okay with it being there.
Mhm.
I'm actually kind of grateful that it came out in this, like to your point, Josh, on this platform as to go to a theater and spend money on it. I still would have spent money, just for the record, for those who want to be like, oh, that's
I
why
would
the
have
theater business is dies, because of people like you. No, I'm not saying that. If it was in theaters and we didn't have this horrible situation going on in the world, I would have watched this movie in theaters. So,
Yeah, me too. Me too.
so that's where I am with it. But out of 10 awesome Johnnies, I would give this about 6 awesome Johnnies.
I don't do 10s. I do 5s, and I give it a 3.5. So we're on the same. We're on the same wavelength, definitely. That's 3.5 awesome Bob-Os.
Now, if it was in the Tokyo Dome, like Dave Meltzer likes to always preach about, I would have given this 7 stars.
Well, out of 5, I'd give it a 3. So 3 out of 5. There were good moments, and others I was just like, There was more, they're good. But
like I said, it's not the worst thing made.
No.
It's not stale.
Straight to DVD over here. Thank you very much. Didn't have to watch that one. Is there a choice on that one?
I saw that at the drive-in.
To rent or not rent? Not rent.
The fact that he mentioned the drive-in, there's an 80s reference.
I love drive-ins. Pueblo has a drive-in, so we used to always go.
Honestly, I think drive-ins would be perfect to make its resurgence.
We have one out. We have a local one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They've just opened up a pop-up drive-in, and they play the movie. Then you tune your radio into the radio frequency for the sound. They did it at Halloween. Had a couple of horror movies on. Last week they did a couple of Christmas movies. They went Love Actually and Batman Returns. As their Christmas movies.
There's a solid Christmas movie right there.
Murder Batman. I love Murder Batman during the holidays.
But it was something crazy, like £23 per person.
What?
Yeah. So you'd end up spending like 40 quid just for 2 people to go. That's minus snack.
You can kiss my
exactly. That's why I asked you.
Not per car, per person.
Get the £20 per person.
Get the F out of here. Yeah, no, thank you. Like, that's highway robbery.
So luckily I have both Love Actually and Batman Returns on DVD.
I'll just pop it in at my home.
That's like saying I'll just watch it on HBO Max.
I won't.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been so much fun. I honestly, I think the highlight of this movie was doing this podcast.
I agree.
That's what I look forward to the most.
It was fun talking with everyone. This is nice. I listen to you guys all the time when I'm doing my stuff, so it's nice to come in every once in a while and do this sort of thing with you guys. So I definitely appreciate it.
So awesome. Well, Johnny, Bob-O, thanks again so much for joining us. And for each and every one of you watching, let us know in the comments. What did you think of Wonder Woman 84? Did you like it? Did you hate it? What were your favorite scenes? What were your not so favorite scenes? What did you think of the post-credit scene? Because that was honestly the highlight of the movie for us. But hey-ho. So make sure to check out all of our shows on Undercover Capes, including Bob-O. You got your show, Crisis in the Toyverse, which, if you guys haven't seen his reviews on our YouTube channel, you're missing out.
There you go. That's said. Well done.
I mean, Bobo's so speechless, his audio even went out. The audio guy.
Oh man, I hit the mute button. That's what happened. This stupid microphone has a blinking light for mute and non-blinking light for non-mute. So I get the two confused from time to time. So I'm like, do I say something? Do I not say something? So what I was gonna say is we just try to have fun over there. We appreciate everybody's support, especially you two guys. I mean that. Just come check it out. I try not to waste too much people's time. I know there's a ton of toy reviews out there. I just try to have fun in a quick, decisive manner. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got. But you should check out these two guys, what they do. They have a wide variety of shows that do some amazing and awesome things. And they give it to you without having a creepy guy who smells like an onion come to your house once a week.
Oh, that's not an old timers comic book show segue, is it?
Oh,
so yeah, we have Old Timers Comic Book Show on YouTube, where myself, the Professor, and the 13th Crusader kick into touch some of the books from yesteryear. We have a blast, talk about Marvel, DC, and indie books, range of different topics. So go check that one out. Last one was, I think, dropped last week.
Yep.
So yeah, cool. That's always good fun. Of course, we all have the perennial favorites. We have the Definitive Crusade every fortnight, where we talk everything DC. This time we're doing, thanks to the shipping hiatus that is Christmas, we're going to talk about rating in order the Batman movies. Live action, so don't get pissed when Mask of Phantasm doesn't win. Thank you very much.
but that's the greatest win of all time.
And then, of course, we've got Flipside Focus for all things indie and No Price Podcast for all of you Marvel fans and a slew of other shows. So check it out, undercovercapes.com. It's great. So on that note, Johnny, Bobo, always a pleasure. And we will catch you guys on the next one.
Adios.